Welcome to Parks Associates virtual events. There are several tools in the platform to help you connect with others, interact with live sessions, and download session content. If you missed a live session, you can go back at any time to watch on demand. Go to the Watch Replays tab and click on the session that you'd like to view. Have you created your own event agenda? From the Agenda tab, click on the calendar icons to add items to your My Events schedule. You can also add sponsors and items to view later. We want you to connect with our industry-leading speakers and sponsors. Check out the Speakers tab and the Sponsors tab to meet them. Sponsors have uploaded additional materials available for download. Make sure to visit sponsor booths for any companies that interest you to chat with a member of their team. The panelists and speakers will address your questions live on the stream. Use the live discussion feature to ask your questions or answer polls. We're on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. If you're watching any of our events on the go, you can tune in via the Parks Associates event app. Download it for quick access to any on-demand replays, to connect with other attendees at our virtual or in-person events, and keep track of your event agenda. If you need help navigating the virtual platform, please reach out to a member of our team by visiting the Parks Associates booth or by mentioning at Parks Associates in the live chat.
Working in emerging tech and connected services is exciting but tough. You are working in an innovative, dynamic market with few clear models of success to follow. You need to make decisions more quickly than ever. There's more information and opinions out there from more sources than ever. Staffing is short, resources are constrained. At Parks Associates, it is our mission to serve the industry with evidence-based insights. We exist to serve you, and we can help. We inform your strategy with diverse perspectives so you see the whole picture. We research industry movement, the trends that matter, the shifting competitive landscape, and product innovations that will change the market. We also bring you the voice of the consumer. We survey tens of thousands of U.S. households every year with a data set that trends over decades, curating it for a deep understanding of consumer perspectives on emerging consumer technologies and services. We also bring you the voice of the channel. We survey and interview security dealers, small businesses, builders, property managers, and others to understand the channel and business customers' point of view. And your voice is so important. The experience and knowledge of the executives leading the industry are so valuable. You are in the trenches, and you can learn from each other. We bring the decision makers together in our executive conferences to make impactful connections, talk candidly about industry challenges, and inspire new solutions. We invite you to be our partner. You can learn with us through our research subscriptions. You can get custom data cuts quickly for product development, marketing decisions, and press releases. You can make inquiries of our analyst team when you want an outside opinion. You can assess new market opportunities and business concepts through custom research projects. You can host learning sessions for your team with our analyst workshops. You can add your voice to the conversation by joining us at our executive events. And you can help other industry leaders learn about you through our white papers and webinars. We are here to serve you. Be our partner.
Hello everyone, and welcome into our Future of Video series, and thank you for joining us for this special session on building new revenue and the evolution of video. My name is Eric Sorensen. I am a research analyst here at Parks Associates and the director of our streaming video tracker product. I'm so excited to be kicking off this discussion today. So before we get going, I want to thank our sponsors for making Future of Video possible. Thank you to Audia, Symphony AI Media, and FPT Software. We will once again be hosting our in-person Future of Video event in Los Angeles, California in November 2023. So please consider sponsoring that event now in order to get the visibility and the exposure that comes with it. And for those of you who are in the swap card, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, please reach out to Megan for a special guest pass. We have an awesome lineup of speakers today and some great research data to set the stage for our panel discussion on T-commerce and new revenue opportunities. Also, in about 15 minutes, Peter Scott of Play Anywhere will join my colleague Jennifer Kent for a discussion on interactive experiences and how to monetize them. So you don't want to miss that. So today, streaming services are seeking a path to profitability and searching for new revenue streams, not only with mergers and acquisitions, new tiers of service, including AVOD and premium tiers, but also finding new innovations for advertising revenue. Advertising has always been a fundamental revenue source for TV-based video. Going back to the early days of broadcast and pay TV. Yet, traditional delivery methods do not close the link between the ad and the actual purchase in the same way that e-commerce conducted on a computer or mobile device does. Streaming services must generate revenue. Investors are demanding that services emphasize profitability and ARPU after years of heavy expenditures on original and exclusive content to build their user base. Advertising and transactional purchases have the potential to generate additional income. And when it comes to generating additional revenue, AVOD and FAST services are continuing to grow. But not only are they starting to deliver on subscribers, as in the case of Netflix and Disney+, but also on revenue from those advertisers. Ad-based streaming services are now the fastest growing business model in streaming. 31% of US internet households reported watching an ad-supported AVOD or FAST service in the past month, which is up from just 18% in 2018. We also saw an even greater jump from 11 to 24% for freemium services, where a free ad-supported tier is combined with the option of an ad-free paid premium tier. These are also sometimes referred to as SAVOD, or subscription ad-supported video on-demand services. The lingo and the acronyms are getting so confusing. So as we look at Peacock and Paramount offering premium services, and Hulu offering a bundle of ads in all of its services, this is the evolution of where we're heading. This is a Hulu subscription AVOD model in a bundle, or an SAVOD service. Consumers are evaluating their spending in all areas with the uncertain economic climate. Ad-based services are offering a familiarity, cost saving, and often a lean-back linear experience, causing these types of streaming services to continue to rise. The next generation of streaming involves leveraging new opportunities, figuring out how to reach consumers and what activities on the smart TV will drive engagement. Streaming opens the door to more engaging immersive experiences. While ad-based services will continue to change the market, the role of interactivity will have a huge impact on revenues and engagement. These are new experiences that are beginning to emerge today and are setting the expectations for the video experience. Co-viewing apps that sync on-demand shows and movies with family and friends in another location at the exact same time is an example of an interactive feature. Now, for sports fans, using interactive features is more common. 48% of sports fans say they have acted on an interactive feature while watching live sports. And lastly, Parks Associates has done extensive consumer research in the growth of a new advertising strategy called T-commerce. Most consumers shop online today. 62% of respondents shop on a mobile phone and 60% shop on a computer monthly. A total of 88% of US internet households shop online at least once per month. On average, consumers in internet households are making 6.8 online purchases per month. So what is T-commerce? T-commerce is TV-based commerce, where a purchase is made in response to an advertisement or a product placed in the video stream on the TV. Consumers may buy the good through an interactive feature on the television or through a second screen app on a mobile tablet device. 51% of connected device owners, or approximately 44 million households, are engaging in commerce-related activities on their television today, according to research conducted by Parks Associates. Most prevalent are video-related digital experiences, which frequently utilize retained payment credentials to direct the consumer to a mobile link to complete the actual purchase. Internet TV technology can support better commerce application, and industry leaders are trialing this functionality. Amazon has publicly spoken about T-commerce trials as it has conducted live streamed shoppable video on Amazon.com through Amazon Live. Roku announced a deal making Walmart its exclusive retail partner for featured products viewers can purchase directly through the Roku platform. TeleTV, who will be on our panel later this afternoon, is offering a free TV with a second smart screen application that plays the advertising and interactive stats without disrupting the live viewing experience. QVC Plus and HSN Plus, who are also on our panel later this afternoon, launched a shoppable app with Vizio that includes a video commerce experience. Many other brands and advertisers and streaming services are testing out the consumer's interest in shopping through the television. And so when it comes to testing out new T-commerce features on their television, 1/3 said they are likely to eventually use one of these tested features. Consumers are most attracted to the ability to purchase an item that catches their eye within the program directly through the TV. Electronics, clothing, and media are the most appealing types of products purchased through the television. Parks Associates research also found that men expressed more interest in purchasing electronics, while women expressed more interest in purchasing items of retail items and fashion through their television. So that said, T-commerce applications still have very limited appeal. Consumers are mostly concerned about the purchase process itself. Is it secure? Can I return the product? Early T-commerce initiatives must be easy to use and transparent about how the process works in order to gain the trust of potential shoppers. 68% are concerned that someone's going to get unauthorized access to their credit card or their home address. Now, on the flip side, shipping is the most appealing incentive to promote T-commerce. About 44% of respondents said free shipping would encourage them to try a T-commerce feature. Free shipping is constantly the most appealing incentive, regardless of the demographic. So the video entertainment ecosystem is so complex and so very, very fragmented. If you are actually interested in seeing the full suite of consumer data on T-commerce, please see the QR code on the right side of the screen in the chat to learn more about our T-commerce research or actually any of our data suites. You know, our research solutions and tools are built to provide an understanding of broadband and streaming services. And we do this through our OTT video market tracker, our consumer insights dashboards, and our qualified consumer studies. This is also provided with the ability to customize our data sets for our client needs. So if you're interested in learning more, we are here to help. So I want to thank you so much for joining me for this overview of T-commerce. We will have plenty more to discuss in our discussion later. But in just a few minutes, we will have our visionary spotlight with Peter Scott of Play Anywhere. So I look forward to speaking with all of you in about 30 minutes after that in-depth discussion with Peter Scott.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric, for that great overview and really setting the framework for the rest of our sessions today. I'm Jennifer Kent, Vice President of Research with Parks Associates, and so pleased to be hosting our visionary speaker today, Peter Scott. He's the Chief Strategy Officer of Play Anywhere. You may know Pete. He's got great experience, long demonstrated history in the media ecosystem, working in broadcast, digital media, really focusing on innovation. He's most recently the former VP of Innovation and Emerging Media at Warner Media and Discovery, and now really looking at interactive experiences, and the opportunities to generate new revenue streams with interactivity. So Pete, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Hey, great to be here and excited. Thank you. Those were great trivia questions. I think those are super helpful, not only as people who are watching this to evangelize shoppable TV and interactivity, but there's probably a bunch of people that didn't have the clarity on some of those questions. So thanks. Those are actually really good ones. I actually did some screenshots to keep so I can send them to my team as well.
Well, we will also make sure that you have the slides after the fact so that you can send them around and to anybody listening. We're going to let Pete give us a little bit of his point of view with us today about interactivity and really what Play Anywhere is up to. But we're going to come back and chat with him. And also remember that you can submit your questions for Pete as well.
Hey, everybody. I'm blessed to be traveling over in Europe right now. I was just in Madrid this morning, and we can go to the slides. And now I'm heading off to IBC, which is in Amsterdam. And I'm here to tell you, next slide, please. I'm really here to tell you that from beautiful Madrid, where I was for the last 3 days, the opportunity of interactivity is on everybody's mind. If you go to the next slide. We are working right now with a large soccer league that some of you may or may not know, called La Liga, where we're integrating our solution, which in essence provides interactivity over live soccer games with La Liga worldwide. And next slide, please. And what we're seeing is this massive sort of interest, both from the viewing audience and inside the stands, to participate, to use their mobile device to engage with the screen that's in front of them or the event that's in front of them. We're seeing a really interest across, different demographics, that I think it's all about the value exchange and what we provide back, to the consumer. Is there a value? Can I make that purchase like we talked about earlier in this? And, is it something where it's stats, could be gamification, et cetera? Is that something that we could do? And just some information for La Liga. Next slide, please. They have about 146 million followers worldwide. And why that's important is it's a really multiple tenant, multiple language approach for the league to really go to as many different broadcasters around the world and unlock interactivity. And they're the first major league that wants their broadcast partners to go ahead and create interactive experiences that create engagement, time spent, and really a value exchange with the consumer. And I'm going to play a little video for you that sort of demonstrates we're worldwide in their direct-to-consumer app called La Liga Plus. And why that's important is we're getting direct feedback every day from how people want to interact with our particular interactive panel. So I'll go ahead and let you play the video and you'll get more information.
Okay, this is to show you the Play Anywhere platform in action on the Liga Plus second division. And for the second division, we're basically worldwide in the La Liga direct-to-consumer product called La Liga Plus. So I'm looking at the site now. I see that there's a live game between Levante and Real Oviedo. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the game. And it should bring up the stream. And immediately you see our Play Anywhere button, which is really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and blow this up to full screen. And I'm going to hit the Play Anywhere button. and immediately you see which team will score the next goal. I'm going to go ahead and put Levante. I'm going to place my pick, and other people believe in that pick already. So what's important to understand is we're live right now with La Liga Second Division here on Saturday, and this play button allows fans to play, and you can already see there's a different question that comes up. Here's the timer. In which minute will the next goal be scored? I'll go ahead and say 61, and again I can place the pick. You can see your results. You can see how other people are doing in my results. You can see a leaderboard, who's playing, etc. So we're live. We're handling the sponsorship inside the ad. We're getting good interactivity with the experience, and excited that we're live and that we're testing all of our APIs and the experience with fans.
So really, what was interesting on this last slide is, some of if you're in the United States, the best player in La Liga's history, Messi, came into MLS, and obviously it's changed the dynamic and the value of Messi inside MLS, and his value is, I think, missed, with La Liga. But the opportunity for us to explore in a worldwide audience and to change the look and feel, we've already done a redesign on the look and feel, I think is sort of our toe in the water to show leagues and large IP holders that there is value, and fans are clicking. It's about 30% of the people that are clicking on our experience in one way. The time spent is anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, participating and wanting to sort of engage. We also have triggers where if a goal gets scored, we'll post a jersey, so someone can quickly go to an e-commerce store like Fanatics and Amazon and buy the jersey. So we're in sort of the early sort of times of this, and we're blessed that we have partners like La Liga. We're going to make other announcements with other large leagues, and we're also working in reality TV space. There's a big interest for a lot of the producers and buyers of those shows to start integrating cooking wear or fashion. And our platform enables a lot of that from the front end of the look and feel. And then we have a clearinghouse system that enables, everybody to get paid. Because if we're going to make interactivity work, we need to find all the folks around the world that are doing it. And there are a lot of people doing it today. Tonight on Amazon, Thursday Night Football, you're going to be able to choose from 4 different streams. They're integrating AI. And the idea is we're giving fans an opportunity to choose the way they want to watch a broadcast. And I think we're starting to see that everywhere. I think in reality TV, you're going to start seeing the same thing, where people either get together and they basically have the expectation that they would have on TikTok and Instagram to go ahead and make a purchase and to buy something pretty quickly. I've used the analogy a lot, but I have a daughter who's been groomed on TikTok, and she's frustrated why she can't buy the black cocktail dress on Gossip Girl. And I think there's a lot of issues there between the producers of the show, where it gets distributed. So we're trying to help encourage that. And I can tell you, just being over in Europe, it's the same sort of problems everybody's going through in the media business, creating new revenue streams, collecting first-party data, and really being able to generate new revenues that currently we can't do. But the good news is the technology is here now. So we're one of many great companies that are out in this space trying to figure out interactivity. And with the support of Park Associates and the data that they pull for us, it's very helpful, where we need really buy-in and evangelizers in IP holders and broadcasters to really think about this, being a new frontier. And I think we all know this will become standard fare in, maybe as soon as 2 years, where you'll see a show, you'll see where they're staying. You may want to go to Airbnb. You may want to buy the bottle of wine that they're drinking or the recipe of the particular dish that you're seeing. So what's really nice, and I applaud Park Associates for embracing this and seeing this as a trend and putting together such a good team of people to walk you through this and where we think it's headed. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm quite sort of bullish on the fact that this is going to move forward. Technology costs are lower, integration with APIs is easier, and revenue streams people are looking for. So we're going to get there, and just excited to sort of listen in today and hear the other speakers. And please reach out if you have any questions for me as we move forward, as we integrate with e-commerce companies all around the world, to make a lot of this sort of a reality. Jen, did you want to come back? There you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Pete, thank you so much for all of that and for sharing the video, because I think a lot when we talk about interactive experiences, it is experiential. The everyday viewer won't really understand the concept necessarily till they see it, till they try it for the first time. Younger consumers are absolutely already engaging with video this way because they're mobile first. I'm a little late to the Manning brothers, alternative broadcast, but watched it Monday Night Football. It was a lot of fun. It definitely felt more like watching a little bit of YouTube stream where I've got a commentator that's talking around another video that's playing, and it was compelling and it was funny. So how do you feel? I mean, it really feels like we're at the tip of something that's a little different than some, let's say, commerce initiatives that have come before, because there's real premium tier content that is available now that people can actually experience today.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're also getting taught, I use the analogy of my daughter. I think, probably most people on this seminar today have bought something from Instagram, and that's a direct, sort of condition of you're seeing a video, you see something personalized to you and you're interested, and 2 clicks, 3 clicks, and you've bought the product. And I think we're just changing the muscle, over in Asia and that part of the world. It's very common for people to buy things through video. I think, what was shown earlier around our friends at Amazon Live, they see the connection and they see the potential. So I think you're 100% right. You need good IP to basically leverage, to basically show, what's possible in the larger audiences at the top of the funnel. You have to have a great UX, which was talked about earlier. And then you have to basically, make that a good experience. I think there's a reason why Amazon Prime does so well, is because it's 2-day free shipping. And I think we've conditioned everybody to have that expectation. So I wasn't surprised that that was one of the, leaning things that what people wanted. So I think it's a combination. Can you imagine if the Kardashians, on their show, and we can say everything we want about the Kardashians, but, they're professionals and they know how to get people to watch and get people to purchase. But can you imagine if a deal was struck where they could integrate during the show, some of the things they're selling, some of the things they're wearing, and make that a 1 or 2 or 3 click process? I mean, you would see that start to happen. And I think, quite frankly, there's an expectation. I think people organically do it already, where they do searches with their phone while they're watching a broadcast, or where'd she get that lipstick, or where did he get that jacket? So it's organically happening. I think there's just, it's sort of what you and I said. I think I'd love to get maybe people on this call, create a quarterly call and create a consortium of really just smart people that are doing interactivity and really share what is working, what's not. Netflix, we talked about earlier, is doing some really interesting programming around kids where you can choose the adventure or the ending you want. And really, that's another way of being interactive with the broadcast. So again, I'm very optimistic. I'm excited. In Amsterdam, there's hundreds and hundreds of broadcasters looking for new opportunities. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to test drive and do this. And it may take a little bit to get it right. We're on the frontier of new technology here. So excited about it.
So one thing that we've talked about here that maybe those who do have assets, who do have content, who are, a network or for service provider, they're interested in this, that we've talked about is the understanding of how to monetize what you might call interactive rights differently than broadcast or streaming rights, and pulling off this sector of who can monetize an interactive experience based on your IP. Can you share a little bit about how you see that working, and maybe some of the conversations you're having about what this is going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about education. At the end of the day, you want to explain what interactive rights are, and I'm happy to share that with this seminar, our interpretation of interactive rights. We with La Liga, we wrote a pretty, pretty substantial legal document that said any squeeze back, overlay, QR code, that's what we considered interactive rights. And again, I think this is a new media rights category, to be brutally honest with you. So, we wrote this together with a bunch of folks, and we're cognizant of what that means. So I think it's education, right? Like, what does interactive rights mean? How do you unlock those rights as an IP holder? And then really going to the IP holders and saying, hey, this is a new opportunity for you to maybe make some new revenue around the content that you inspire people to buy things anyway. Whether it is the Kardashians, whether it's La Liga to play, your culture and content inspires people to do things. And so I think we're just doing the natural of connecting those teams. We're lucky enough, we're working with Amazon. They have a platform called Amazon Anywhere. And we're starting to integrate with APIs inside their store, so we can approach a reality TV producer and work with he or she to say, okay, what's in your house? What are you talking about? Is it cooking? Is it, a fashion show? Is it, Big Brother? Could we do product placement within the show, allow people during designated times of the show to buy the product directly from Amazon? And if you're already logged in with a cookie, you literally could see the buy now button that everybody sees today, and it would be bought, and the shipping and the returns, that would all be handled by Amazon. So there's places out there that this is starting to happen, and the muscle is starting to change from being maybe a lean back experience to a lean forward. And again, we've all heard this a lot, but I think the time is now with, what's happening in next gen TV, what's happening here in Europe with HBTV, where people are starting to understand that remote control can do other things. So that's what I would say. I would say the folks on this call is we want to educate folks. Hey, have you ever thought about interactive rights and the content we produce? And then can we draw associations? If you're doing a sales cycle and you work with, a particular brand, or you want to bring brands into a show, can you identify, go to those chief marketing officers saying, hey, I have this show I'm putting together. Would you be interested in product placement? If not, is there a way that, we can help you sell, some items? So I think that's the tact we're taking, and it's becoming very effective, especially with, folks not watching commercials anymore. So there has to be some other pull or some other, action that takes place that, sort of makes new revenues happen for these new brands.
Your last point there about folks not watching advertising anymore is a perfect segue to where I wanted to go here, to think about how, in one sense, in the streaming world, advertising is back in vogue, right? The large SVODs are adding an ad tier. We see much more engagement with FAST and AVOD generally than we have in past years, as some people start to trim their subscriptions down. Now, what we've been talking about so far has been a lot of interactivity within the content stream itself, and not necessarily, advertising. Do you see some of the interactivity that you're working on now bleeding over into the ad space proper, or making them, more engaging, where people are either doing less time shifting and actually watching those advertisements because they're something they can lean into as opposed to sort of skip?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I would say with fast channels, I'm waiting. The jury's still out for me. I'm going to be curious to see if ultimately they're generating the eyeballs that people are, sort of saying what they're doing. And if they are, fantastic. I think it's another great way for advertisers to basically leverage. It's probably a fundamental, like you said, people are trimming, their whole household costs, and buying Tubi or participating with Pluto is probably easier for them than maybe a Netflix or a HBO subscription. But I think you're 100% right. I think everybody's going to start to look for new revenue, engagements, and building their own first party database. I mean, I think what's been so interesting to see, like a large company like Nike sort of pull a lot of their inventory away from stores so they could create their own destination. And I think you're going to start to see a lot of big brands start to think that way, where are we engaging with the fan directly as a direct to consumer experience, and how do we collect the first party data about that person so we as the brand own that user, as opposed to maybe having to share it. So I think there's going to be a hybrid. Roku, we mentioned earlier, is already doing sort of interactive ads on fast channels now. So I think everybody's experimenting, and I'm all for it. You and I talked about this last week, where whether it's in Asia, South America, North America, Europe, everybody do it, and let's learn from it, right? So that we can share those findings. And, there may be people that, tonight's football game, they just want to watch the normal broadcast, but there may be others that want to watch the AI stat delivered broadcast, or may want to watch Dude Perfect for a little bit to see. But Amazon gets it, right? Like, they have the ability to create 4 different streams of our most popular sport in the United States. And there's a reason why they do that, because they're experimenting and seeing, how people are engaging. And if there's a value exchange, and I would say that for everybody on this call, we have to create a value exchange to the consumer. We can't, sort of botch this up. We have to create a nice, seamless UX, provide an opportunity. Maybe it's, exclusive goods from a particular, influencer or celebrity. And I think that's, where we'll get to. And I'm just excited, really. I mean, you can sort of tell my voice, whether it's La Liga and we're doing this worldwide, or whether it's, I think shoppable TV is coming, and I think they're being trained. Everybody's being trained organically. So I think there's a lot of different things in this space that have changed, and this is a good time to go figure this stuff out.
So we have a few questions from the audience here. Want to focus more on content. So obviously you're talking about La Liga, we're talking about sports. What content do you see as the most effective for interactivity? Is it sports and live content that we'll really see first? Live, obviously, you've also got polling, chatting, right? It's that experience that you're all in here together and you're part of the moment. But do you have other thoughts on content that's particularly compelling with an interactive, experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's anything that has a fandom, quite frankly, whether it's sports. Chip and Joanna Gaines have a very successful show called Fixer Upper, and it's on the Magnolia Network at Discovery. And a lot of people watch that show and the shows that are underneath that brand. And I think wherever there's that's why you have these HGTV, Food Networks. Those are tribes. Those are fandoms. Those are folks that want to engage and want to maybe in the background, put on a cooking show or put on the Kardashians. So those are fandoms that are coming to watch. I just think there's ways that you can further monetize them and give them a value exchange back. I think the QR code has sort of been revolutionary. I think there's different ways that people have used it, but now it's sort of become the common thing that people understand and what they do. Now, do we have to improve the experience in the living room? We got to pull up your phone. Is it up there? Where can we get the usability in UX? But we'll get that, because there are a lot of smart people that will test drive and figure that stuff out. But I think your question is right on. You got to find the fandom and the passionate fans that have really just a big interest in, thinking this out. Can you imagine when HBO Max, we talked about this, when HBO Max puts Barbie into HBO Max, what if HBO Max decided to put some shopping components in it, right? Because of, they'll probably release around Christmas time. So that's programming that maybe people wouldn't have thought of. But the amount of revenue that's been established around merchandising for that show has been astronomical. And I think it's led to the success of the show, of being a tribal event that people go to, but they're expressing themselves with the merchandise they purchase. So it might be interesting to see if HBO Max, wants to work with us or someone else to basically engage, when that show gets released on HBO Max, because it's so popular, and maybe people might have an expectation. Oh, I'd really like to, buy that cute dress or that pink outfit or whatever it may be. So I think it's a combination. I think it's the fandom and the passion that people have. And I think you can, give them something that gives them a value exchange to show their fandom. It's almost like, why are there certain things sold at the cashier at a supermarket, right? Because it's impulsive. And if you can make the impulsive, work. We had a good conversation in Spain with a company that does a lot of integration with buying through your, through your telco company. So could you buy something through your telco funding and build back through your phone bill? Cable companies have done that for years with pay-per-view, so that it's seamless.
Right.
So those are the kind of things I think that will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a question here too about what you see as the big product brands like a P&G,
Mhm.
really jumping in and making maybe
Yeah.
big deals with a brand like Disney. I also kind of feel this way about retailers, right? Obviously, Amazon's in the game. They've got their
Yeah.
own service and asset, library that they're working with here. But then you've got Walmart and Roku have made a big
Mhm.
decision. Target would be perfect for Chip and Joanna Gaines. They already have a relationship in store,
Exactly.
so are we on the cusp of seeing some really big product brands and or retailer brands starting to make exclusive partnerships, or do you think it'll be kind of open and we want to be the distribution for anybody on the retail side and let the products make the partnerships they want to make?
Yeah, I think it's been a combination. Chip and
Yeah.
Joanna Gaines have that kind of power to be exclusive to Target, but others, we're starting to integrate with Shopify. So it could be, a ceramic, artist in Maine that has these really cool cups that has to be in a show, or it could be, as large as the large retailers like obviously Walmart and Amazon. The trick is a lot of these big companies aren't sort of digitized in the way that their merchandise is set up as APIs. So we're helping them do that. There's a great company called Violet.io that I would encourage everybody to reach out to, that is sort of helping stores basically create and digitize themselves so their APIs and pictures can be shown. So I think it's a combination of, can you be the broker that comes, says, hey, outdoor, fishing show, I'm going to bring you Patagonia. And Patagonia has already got gear that's already digitized and has APIs. And let's figure out subtle points within the show or in the first break out of the show where we can say, hey, do you like that jacket? Do you like that? And just test the waters. And then again, I think if we can make it seamless, I think it could be open to really, quite frankly, every e-commerce operator. And I think the ones that can provide themselves to be digitized and have their merch and SKUs run through APIs, I think that just gives them such an opportunity to say, okay, cool, I'm going to make this available, to really everyone. So again, that's what we're doing. We're going around the world, finding the Walmarts and Amazons in every country because they're obviously different, or the grocery stores. And again, I think, even running around, Madrid, I mean, I must have seen 15 deliveries walking through the streets. Guy pulls up, delivers the food. So the muscle's there, right? It's now just moving it to the content that people watch and then giving them the option to want to make the purchase. And then once you get them, how do you make it so seamless and a value exchange that they're willing to do it over and again? It's the same reason why people who use Uber Eats and DoorDash, because it's so convenient, because it just shows up and they're hungry and they want to eat. And that's the same reason why people use Amazon. You'll see some stuff, I think, with the NFL and Prime, where they're when Black Friday comes up, after Thanksgiving, you're going to see a whole different type of broadcast you've never seen before, and it's going to be a ton of integration of all kinds of things. So it's
Yeah.
exciting. I'm really excited about it. And then
Well,
maybe Apple even goes down that path, right? Where
sure.
so big as a merchandiser, or Samsung, and it returns to when my dad was doing advertising in the 50s, and it's literally sponsored, right? Like all the things you're going to see in the show, you can buy in the Apple store, or all these things you see in the show, you can get on Amazon. And I think really that's where it's going to go, because there's a economic question of all these show producers and people looking for new revenue to create the shows. Now I think there just has to be, an integration that I think could be super, super helpful.
Well, we just
And
have
I
a
also think, sorry, real quick,
please.
travel is
Mhm.
like a no-brainer, right? Like, why wouldn't you? I think I might have told you the story, but whenever I go to a different part of the world, I look at old Anthony Bourdain episodes,
Mm,
because Anthony's been everywhere. So, he'll show you what it's like at the airport. He'll show you how to go to the hotel lobby, and I'll just sit there and write everything down. But can you imagine going back to all the Anthony Bourdain episodes and interactivizing them?
yeah.
Oh, that was such a great scene. He went to this great restaurant. I want to know where that restaurant is. Or that wine and fish combo looks so good. It'd be great to have the recipe. I mean, I think this is what people think in their head. Just, whether it's the phone or whether it's the remote control, how do we, make that happen? So I think we're getting there. Excited to do that.
Well, I mean, again, we're just at the cusp here, and
Yeah.
I'm having fun experiencing these moments when I find them, on
Yeah.
TV. And so appreciate all the great work that you're doing to bring these forward and also to pull a lot of the different ecosystem players before it. I'm excited for the panel that's right after us who are going to go even deeper into this topic and tell us about how they're all approaching this problem. I think that's all the time we have today, Pete. But thank you so much for joining me and for this conversation, and even doing it while you're over there in Spain. So thanks so much.
But Jennifer, what I would say is to everybody, and I'm sorry, I might embarrass you a little bit, but look, Park Associates really helps all of us, right? We need data. We need good data that we can go into our bosses and evangelize. There's a signal here. And this is what I love about Jen and the rest of the Park Associates team is they'll go find the signal for you. And then that signal is really valuable for you to empower yourself to go and convince, whether it's the reality TV producer, the sports league, the e-commerce company, to really say, there's something going on here. So I appreciate you guys and wanted to make sure that I said that, because I think you are the bearers of the signals and you see the signals. And that's really helpful for us and the rest of the folks on this panel who are the evangelizers and are trying to convince people to move forward and do this. So thank you.
Well, thank you for those kind words. If anybody's interested in the research, I know our team has already put it in the chat where you can link over to the research, especially related to the T-commerce study that we just did this summer. So some fresh data there everybody can reference. So Pete, thank you so much. Good luck with all of your business over there, and give us just a few minutes. We'll be back with our panel.
Hello, everyone. What a great conversation we just had with Peter Scott, the Chief Strategy Officer at Anywhere. Fascinating to think about interactivity as a new media rights category, and just looking forward to the innovations that can happen with that. So with that, I am very excited to start our discussion with our fantastic speakers regarding T-commerce and new revenue streams. So in case you are just joining us, my name is Eric Sorensen. I'm a senior analyst at Parks Associates within the entertainment team. I'm the director of our video streaming product, and I've worked in sports, news, and media for the last 20 years on partnerships, product development, and content development. And I'm very excited to get to our panel discussion today. We have a great panel with a mix of perspectives on the topic of T-commerce and new revenue streams. On our panel today, we have David Apostolico, who is the SVP of Streaming Experiences and Distribution at QVC Plus and HSN Plus. We have Dallas Lawrence with us, who is the Chief Strategy Officer at Telly. Lori Marion, who is the founder and CEO of Fade Technologies. And last but not least, we have Delaney Thompson, who is the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at AI Buy. So we're going to bring all of them in here in just a moment to tell us a little bit about themselves. I think, David, are you there with us?
I'm here. Thanks,
Hey,
Eric.
David, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Eric, and thanks to Parks Associates and the other panelists. It's a great opportunity to be here. Quick introduction. I lead streaming experience and distribution for QVC and HSN. I'm sure many are familiar with our linear channels, QVC and HSN. We also have a streaming service, QVC Plus, HSN Plus, which people may not be as familiar with, but I would encourage everyone to check it out wherever you download streaming services or on the web, because, and we'll get into this, I know, in a few minutes, but we offer it's really kind of our laboratory to really kind of play around with interactivity and different content forms. We're doing a lot of things that Jennifer and Peter were discussing in the previous panel, so really looking forward to be able to share some of those things that we're experimenting with. Thank you.
We're so glad that you were here with us today. And I know you also had, I think, a brief video you wanted to share with us. Is that correct?
That would be great.
We'll roll that now.
QVC and HSN Plus means more of what you love.
It's all about love, baby.
More shows.
Joanna Garcia Swisher, 43.
More can't miss moments.
It's Adina Menzel here. You want to come for a tour of my closet?
More recipes.
Who doesn't love a little food?
I know you're going to love it.
More stories.
What do you do when you are really, really bad?
Everyone is seated and the lights go down. And 15 minutes later, the show was over.
I certainly did not fit in. I think that's what propelled me to leave and explore.
More places.
Guess where we are, Ames?
Well, I know where we are.
We're in the middle of a small town in Georgia.
Hi, I'm Mary.
The second that I walked into this house, my husband and I, we both fell madly in love.
What is it about this hot chocolate that makes it so special?
No cup is truly enjoyed unless it's served in the presence of love.
QVC and HSN Plus. It's more of what you love.
Thank you, David. Fascinating to sort of think about the evolution of your brands that you work on. So I appreciate you sharing that video with us. I mean, certainly way more than we originally think about of the home shopping network. So I look forward to discussing that with you as well. Also on our panel today is David Lawrence. David is the Chief Strategy Officer at Telly TV, and this is another fascinating product in our ecosystem. So Dallas, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm Dallas Lawrence, the Chief Strategy Officer for Telly, the world's first free dual screen television offered completely for free to consumers. Everyone watching today right now can go visit freetelly.com, maybe in an hour, not right now. You can stay for the panel and register to receive your free 55-inch dual screen television with an awesome Harman Kardon built-in sound system that'll just blow your socks off, fill your house with amazing music, and our incredible second screen that enables you to bring together all of your home devices, from your voice assistants to motion tracking fitness to video games, news, sports, weather, video calling via Zoom, music, and so much more, all on that biggest screen. And really, it's that second screen at the bottom that you see there that is the secret sauce for how we are really helping to revolutionize T-commerce that we're really excited to talk about today. So give it a look at freetelly.com.
And I look forward to hearing your data on how many TVs you've shipped and how many people are interactive with your product already. So I think it's a fascinating initiative. We thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Also on our panel is Lori Marion, who is the founder and CEO of Fade Technology Solutions. Hi, Lori. What is Fade Technology Solutions? What do you guys do?
Sure. Thanks for having me. We are an embedded engagement and retention solution for streaming services where we provide interactive experiences to help further monetize both programming content as well as advertising. Our focus is on helping those streamers realize the $2.7 trillion spending power of millennials and Gen Z.
Fascinating. And I know we've spoken in the past. And so I think I gave the example one time of like, wait, you mean I can watch something and then click on something and go buy it? I mean, I think that was maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and think of where we've come just in that technology. So thank you so much for being here on our panel today.
You're welcome.
Also on our panel, we have Delaney Thompson, who is the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at AI Buy. Delaney, thanks for being here. What is it that you guys do? Oh, I think we have you on mute there. Sorry. I don't know if that's on our end or your end. I mean, it wouldn't be a virtual session without at least one of those, right?
I apologize.
That's all right. We got you now.
Thank you so much, Eric, for having iBuy part of this conversation and for joining these lovely panelists. This is obviously a topic we're quite passionate about. My name is Delaney Thompson. I'm the VP of Strategic Partnerships over here at iBuy. And we have the patent exclusive rights to all in-content, interactive shopping, and checkout without a redirect. So we are the cutting edge SaaS company at the forefront of really revolutionizing the e-commerce landscape. Our expertise is primarily in integrating shoppable content solutions. We've pioneered methods that seamlessly kind of bridge the gap between content and commerce. So to transform how businesses and brands are monetizing the content they create across various mediums, from video, digital images, CTV, social media, and that allows consumers to really purchase items and elements they like without leaving the content they're engaged with.
Well, we thank you for being here, and we're certainly going to get into all these topics. I think you can certainly see the range of the folks that we have on our panel today, and I know we only have 45 minutes, so I want to really get into this discussion. And what we're talking about is the advertising role. We're talking about T-commerce and the advertising role and how we get there from a profitability standpoint. And I think all of our panelists are able to provide that insight and depth. So let me bring all of them in now and get a chance to see all of their faces at the same time. So thank you guys again for being here. I want to sort of start with this concept of T-commerce and where we are today. So as David, maybe I'll start with you and sort of thinking about the concept. We know it's been around for decades, the idea of buying, seeing something on the TV, going to your mobile device to make the purchase. But, why is it more relevant today than maybe it was, the last decade or so?
So thank you. So the number of reasons, and we've had pure T-commerce capabilities for decades, meaning the ability to actually purchase right through the TV with your remote on our linear channels. I think where it's really gaining steam now is there are so many platforms. A lot of these platforms are free. There's a lot of content chasing ad dollars that may not be totally in alignment yet. So, people are looking for more ways to monetize. It's better attribution if you can have direct purchases through a remote or a QR code. We've heard people talk. For us, it's always been an integral part of what we do, just to make a seamless and frictionless purchase capability as possible for our viewers. Where we're really experimenting, and you saw that video, all those videos you saw are all shoppable. So we're really looking at kind of different types of content, from our homemade movies to travel series. We have a travel series with Curtis Stone, to cooking shows and recipe shows, just so many wine shows. We have so many different long form content. We try to really, instead of selling the advertising, make this as seamless as possible, integrate kind of this seamless sell within it. Perfect example, Holly and the Hot Chocolate, our movie that we produced, premiered last year, where this hot chocolate, and we actually sold the hot chocolate, was kind of the centerpiece, around the movie. But there's other things that could be inspired by the movie we'll introduce. We don't do it while you're watching the movie. You'll have just a normal break, as you would expect watching on the big screen. And that's when we'll kind of have a host kind of walk you through. And it's kind of what we call our movie mall concept, where it's really a watch and shop experience where we're watching with you. You're watching the movie. We're not going to interrupt that. But when we do have a break, we'll just kind of walk through what inspires you and how you can get it. So, we're really excited about the possibility this can have in so many different content forms. And if you check us out, you'll see a lot of different content forms we are really experimenting with now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the title of this sort of section, or where we wanted to try to define for our audience today, is what T-commerce is. But I feel like it's broader and bigger than that, from the standpoint of, we heard Peter Scott talk about the interactivity and the opportunity there. So Lori, let me ask you, when you think about the term sort of T-commerce, what does that mean to you?
I think you're right, Eric. It is broader. It means a lot of different things because there are so many types of commerce that viewers and consumers really don't understand the difference. They understand that they're on a social platform, so they're buying from that experience. They understand that that they can't really today buy from a television screen, and they're wondering why, because it just seems so seamless. It means a lot of different things in terms of T is in television.
Right.
It really is something from as early as the 50s, in which some of the first opportunities to actually deliver that kind of experience was actually born out of the UK. But it really is something that hasn't taken hold here in the US for a number of reasons. One reason primarily, I think, is because we have been in an environment of broadcast. And it is now that we're sort of outside of that time-based television watching, that we're all over the place. We start and stop a show or a film or a piece of content at various times of day. We will watch that content throughout completion in one sitting. Our behaviors just as humans have changed. And so it really does mean a lot of different things.
And I think it's so fascinating because, we have this term T-commerce. We have interactivity. We have the ability to buy through your TV. We have the ability to put a QR code. And by the way, the QR codes that grew out of the pandemic, still my opinion, but those things went away for a long time, and then the pandemic, and everybody's got QR codes. But Dallas, in your perspective, right, is T-commerce becoming more of an acceptable term, or is it got to be broader?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, I think we all have a fairly shared understanding of what we hoped T-commerce would be. We hope it can be, and that is this, seamless interaction with the consumer on the biggest screen in the home that enables a buying experience that really rivals mobile or web. Right? That's the hope that we all believe it can be. The reality is, as was just mentioned, we've really been stuck for the past decade trying to get there. I think Samsung started touting the first T-commerce enabled TV 11 years ago. The problem's been that for the past 10 years, our TVs haven't evolved. The fundamental reality is the TV is probably the dumbest device in your house. Your refrigerator is probably smarter and better enabled for T-commerce today than your television. If you think about these TVs that scan products, they come and go and automatically connect to your Amazon Alexa to make purchases for you. This is ridiculous that the refrigerator has outsmarted the smart television. And so what I think you're finally starting to see is that's starting to change a little bit. Not to give a commercial for Telly, but that's what we were tailor-made to deliver to the market. And the timing's really been perfect from a consumer engagement standpoint. A lot of this was an accelerant from COVID, but what you now see if you look at the data is that 1 in 3 US consumers actively are shopping online while they're watching television. They're just doing it on this device. So what we think is a natural evolution from that with T-commerce is to move the experience off this really small screen onto that 55, 60, 70-inch screen in your house and have it right in front of you to be able to really realize the capabilities of t-commerce, I think is, from everything from one-click payments to shipments. I'm super excited to think about all the things we can do with AI, the ability to turn your living room into a dressing room. Our Telly comes with a camera enabled if you want, for example, so you could, see a very near future where you're able to try on clothes with the camera and see how they look, or step back and see how that couch looks in your living room. So I think what we're seeing now is the walls are breaking down for t-commerce. The technology is finally getting there. And the great news is, if you think about the win-win, consumer engagement's already there. Consumers are already, as I said, buying while they're watching television. The QR codes, I think something like the last data point I saw is 1 in 5 US adults have clicked on a QR code off of television. 1 in 3 millennials have done that. So they're there and waiting. That's the exciting part, which is why I think this topic is so timely.
So we talk about the consumer side. We talk about that consumers are ready and waiting. So let's shift focus a little bit and think about the advertiser side and where the opportunities are, or what challenges we've seen. So Delaney, I wanted to sort of pitch that to you in terms of, clearly the consumer is ready. The production, the product, the smart TV may not be there yet. So what are some of the challenges that you see for advertisers?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Dallas, you're really kind of hitting on a lot of great points. So, going back to this idea of what t-commerce is, right? So as an early concept, it was around since the inception of broadcast television, right? That's why viewers saw washing machine commercials while they're watching I Love Lucy episodes. It's why, in the 80s and 90s, kids were targeted in Saturday morning cartoons for breakfast cereal and the newest toys, right? And then traditionally, t-commerce evolved and became synonymous with like this infomercial type concept where people, had to have, a call in on a toll-free number to purchase an item. So with these technological advancements that we're seeing, the concept is evolving significantly, which is why it's more relevant than ever. And to Dallas's point, what's really being shown in research is people are no longer going shopping. People are always shopping. So people are shopping if they're in their car, if they're waiting for an appointment, if they're in the restroom, it doesn't matter. People are always shopping, and obviously their mobile device is what's kind of that tether and allowing some of these experiences to happen. It's also a device that allows us to see more and more forms of content, whether it's from a streaming platform or whether it's from social media. YouTube is one of the biggest watched mediums by far, right? So I guess my advice for advertisers is you have to diversify your revenue streams. It's not one or another type of thing. It's really finding content, creating content that's more of an omni-channel approach that bridges the gap between all of these platforms, between CTV, between social media promotion, between all this content that we're creating. And 70% of people are on their mobile device while watching television already. So this idea of introducing a second screen is already accepted from the consumer, right? And I'm hearing a lot about QR codes, and I think in the past that was fundamentally one of the only ways that we could kind of connect to our television. But that's changed, and that's changed with solutions like ours. Now, I could easily sync up my phone with a 4-digit code where I don't have to awkwardly sit there and try to take a picture of some show I'm watching, and I could have a complete secondary experience, based on the content that I'm watching. So, for advertisers, I think the challenge is now, especially in the FAST model, is we have this programmatic type approach to ads, right? You don't know when it's going to be played. You don't know in what context or what context your products are going to be promoted. And it's completely untrackable as far as a return on ad spend. So with a solution like ours, it's like, it's not a matter of replacing what's in place. It could also be in addition to what's in place and really adding a new revenue stream of, hey, you know what? Cool. Keep your ad supported, model in place, but offer the end user an experience that's interactive on their mobile device. So if I'm watching that cooking show or a show about my pet, or a DIY show, or a travel show, or whatever it is that I like, I now have the opportunity to purchase items related to the content I'm watching. Not only can I purchase them directly, but from an advertiser perspective, I could see conversions. So I'm no longer spending money on this impression-based model and hoping I get a return. It's completely calculable. So I could see the conversions taking place. So I guess I would implore, these brands and advertisers to really kind of start changing their thinking to this impression-based prey model to an interactive experience where, like, hey, now it's trackable. We have conversions. This is, directly related to the content and interest of the end consumer. And again, having a more of an omni-channel approach.
Yeah, David, I saw you sort of agreeing there a little bit from the perspective of that interactive approach. But as you sort of think about, the advertiser and some of your clients, what are you hearing?
So I tend to agree with both Dallas and Delaney. I think the first screen is absolutely catching up to the second screen. To the extent you can have an option where it's a seamless capability on there, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to offer consumers or viewers. But some people are going to just be more comfortable on their second screen and have it in their hand. We know that from our history that people will watch on the first screen and make their purchase on the second screen, which is, we're agnostic to where people transact. We just want to make it as seamless as possible for them. Sometimes it's easier on the first screen because you have the item right there as opposed to, but there's pairing that I know Delaney is talking about that makes it easier to make that transition from the first screen to second screen, which is, great. I guess overall, I'm sorry, go ahead, Delaney.
Delaney, I'll get you. So I just want to let him finish his thought, and I'll get right back to you.
To me,
or we will go to you now.
No, he's here you go, David. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I know I'm having little troubles here, so I'll be quick.
Worries.
If you're talking about conversion in the moment, we have 30 plus years history. It's really inspired shopping. I mean, that's what we rely on. And I think it can be a little jarring to kind of just have an interactive ad that's not connected to what you're watching. Not that it can't work, but I think that's a tougher conversion story than if you have this seamless, inspired, more natural, purchase opportunity connected to what you're watching. I mean, Peter was really talking about that in the last panel, and that's what we're really trying to create with some of our watch and shop, not directly selling shows on our streaming service where we're integrating a lot of these concepts. So early results are very encouraging. We're excited about it. We think it opens up a world of opportunity, not only for us, but potential third parties as well.
Sure, Delaney, I'll let you finish that
Yes,
question.
yeah. I was just wanting to say that David, QVC totally gets it. He's nailing it right on the head as far as inspired or influenced shopping. If you think about that term, impulse buy, when you're at the supermarket, there's a reason the gum is by the register, right? But you're obviously going to see higher conversions if the products that you're offering are directly related to the content the consumer is engaged with. So you're going to have higher conversions if the conversion point is closer to the content, right? So CVC totally gets it. One thing that's really kind of an interesting thought to consider is that this doesn't necessarily have to pertain to tangible items. And what I mean by that is, yes, it's really easy to be, to point out that, frying pan is the one I want because Joanna Gaines suggested it or whatever. But imagine this in terms of creative content. Imagine this in terms of watching a compelling documentary and maybe about a subject that's really, heartfelt and emotionally connecting to the end user. And now giving the power of that content and pairing it with an action or having the ability to donate to. So for instance, what I'm trying to say here with an illustration, if it's a documentary, say about refugees, right? And now you have the ability to donate to that cause or have a paired action with the content that you're doing. All of these possibilities are existing now. These solutions exist now. So I think what's really going to be interesting is not only the way that T-commerce is evolving for the end user when it comes to brands and products, but it's really going to be interesting how it comes down to any interaction that we have, from downloading music to buying concert tickets, or to donating to a cause or raising money. So again, I just wanted to point out that T-commerce might not necessarily mean a tangible item.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair assessment. I think one of the thoughts that I sort of would love to hear, whoever wants to jump in and take this, maybe Lori, I'll start with you. But when you think about this process and we think about the traditional advertising of placing a pod and the commercials that may not be relevant to that consumer, but how do we get to the point where the advertising piece is that interactive, engaging experience for the consumer? And then the real question is, there's got to be exponential costs associated with this process, right? Or, okay, everybody's shaking their head. So what does that mean then? What does that look like? Yeah, Dallas, you want to jump in?
Well, Lori can go first if she wants. Lori, go ahead.
Thanks, Dallas.
You're going to have a way smarter answer, so I'll tail behind you and listen.
I like it.
So I agree with everyone here on the panel. We've had, we know each other, we've had conversations, so I totally agree. But I do think that there is something that when we, as FADE, when we have conversations with agencies on behalf of advertisers. We have conversations with streamers on behalf of thoughtful content. And what I think, going back to your earlier sort of question, was about why is this taking so long? Why? We really have to stop and think about the idea that this is not a social environment where people's appetite for sort of a shoppable moment is so easily remedied through a social commerce. In the environment around premium content, and it is the premium content that thoughtful content that has really put a pause on why this is not something that is available today. So, just sort of from a ubiquity, but it is the idea that that the television set doesn't become an ATM, and that $1 million piece of content, or a few million, 100 million in the fact of Barbie, that it doesn't become an ATM. And so we also have to be very thoughtful in our approach around what content it's associated with it and how it drives that activation. And the activation is when we talk about interactive licensing, for example. That's everything from a poll to a piece of commerce that could drive a decision, that could drive and activate an action for the viewer to deeply connect with that brand or that cause. But it doesn't always have to revolve around the ability to actually buy something. And that's what I think we have to really sort of balance in terms of what an advertiser is looking at for their brand. Yes, they want you to buy products. Yes, they want data. Yes, they want meaningful data that talks about the ability to personalize so that viewer can get something that they are interested in. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't always have to be. Sometimes it's above the funnel. It's not even in the funnel. It's above the funnel where they really just want to put a message out into the ecosystem and have the ability for viewers to engage in a very thoughtful way.
Sure. Dallas, before you jump in, I do want to remind our audience that we do have a poll question. You'll see that on the right side of your screen. So please take our poll question, and then I'm going to ask our panel their thoughts of it as we get a little closer to that. But Dallas, I want to hear your response to that.
I agree with everything Lori said. I want to go back to what David said too, which I think is key. And his comment was about alignment to what's on the top screen to what's on the second screen. Part of the benefits of what we believe is from the tele standpoint is we have that second screen attached. So we're right there, we're able to connect those two. But really the biggest challenge that we have today is the data. The state of television data is, if I would put my previous military hat on, we would call that a Charlie Foxtrot. It is a mess. It is a complete mess. If you think about the life of a consumer, when you buy that television today at your big box retailer and you go to plug it in, the moment you plug it in, that TV manufacturer, whether it's Roku, Sony, Samsung, knows absolutely nothing about the consumer household from day one. They have to then go and build these data sets and try to figure out who's watching that television and combine all these different data points. Some is first party, some is third party. At the end of the day, they try to piece together a patchwork to guess who's in front of the TV. And then, oh, by the way, 40% of the time when the TV's on, probably no one's in front of the television. So there's huge waste there as well. You know, our model a little bit different. Consumers give us a whole set of data when they sign up about themselves, deep data, demographics, insights. We know how many people in front of the TV. So we're able to combine those two experiences. But the real secret sauce that we've, I think, missed on realizing the full potential is how do we combine in real time what you're seeing with engaging on that top screen with what we're delivering on that bottom second screen or that second screen in your hand. And what's really exciting about this and why I love when people say, is it more expensive, is not only is it not more expensive, you're going to save money when you leverage the technology that's there today. So this isn't future thinking. You know, what you can do today, if you wanted to, on a tele or on other devices, if you're leveraging the technology correctly, is we know if you're watching a Ford national broadcast commercial on the top television screen, we can then in real time deliver you a local Ford dealership ad in the bottom right that says click to schedule your local test drive. We know if you just watch White Lotus or you're watching it in real time, and maybe United wants to send you an ad to fly to Italy right now because you are ready to go to Italy. Your mind's there, you're ready to go. All this technology is there. We just aren't connecting those dots in a way that not only makes the experience, I mean, we talk about like, we want this to be the best of both worlds for everybody. Consumers, when you poll them time and time again, are not opposed to advertising. They will tell you this in every survey, and I've been doing research on this for over a decade. What they hate is getting advertising for diapers when they don't need them. What they hate is getting advertising it's completely irrelevant to them. You deliver me a relevant ad that's timed to an experience where my mind is already in the mood, and I'm not only ready to engage with that ad, I'm ready to make a purchase. And ready to go deeper into the funnel. So that's the exciting thing of where we're at today. I think that the mess we're dealing with is the data. And we have some maturation we need to do with the advertising buyers to recognize that the data sets are available today. It just is going to take a change in mindset of how we engage to fully leverage the potential.
So Delaney, I saw you nodding quite a bit there, but
yes.
but I know you have a response here, but I do want to make sure that we fully understand for our audience the challenges around getting reliable metrics on the advertising.
Right.
What are those challenges?
Well, for the audience is nobody. Well, I think the challenge is really for ad dollars and advertising agencies because they don't know their return. I mean, that's the biggest challenge. Again, it's like this impression-based model. Exactly what Dallas is saying is it's programmatic, so we don't know what's being shown and when. If you're doing these ad blocks, you don't know who's watching it. So if you have a solution like Telly or like our solution where people actually have their user profile built out, so you can see their purchasing history, you can see what they're engaging with, it'll provide all of those metrics. You know, the biggest shift again that I hope that we can see from ad spend is that shift of consciousness. For us, we're a rev share model. So this thinking of, hey, I'm going to put all this money up front and hope I get a return, it's kind of fading away. You know, I think the model is more of, hey, let's add this into the content where it's this interactive, relatable experience and see what leads we generate or see what products we purchase. And then let's figure out what that looks like. So it's a win-win situation. So if there's a shift of consciousness of money out and changing that into this is a new revenue stream because we're now actually having conversions and revenue being driven through this experience. I think that's the biggest shift that we need advertisers to understand.
I would just add one more thing, just a mindset. Somebody gave the great example earlier of I Love Lucy and the washing machine. That's when the legacy TV measurement system that we still largely use today was introduced into the market, 1950. So we are going back 3/4 of a century and largely still using the same level of technology and insights to measure what is now the most fragmented, diverse ecosystem in the history of human civilization for engaging with content. So I think, and what's both the best of both worlds, and the worst part is we're still doing that. The good news is we have all of the capabilities today to shift. And you're seeing brands really begin to embrace that, largely because they're recognizing that the money they can save from better engagements, from better ROI, more than makes up for any effort it's going to take to make that transition over.
If I could make an offer to everyone, if you're ever in the Philadelphia area, please, we're in Westchester, Pennsylvania, 20 miles due west of Philadelphia. Be happy to give anyone a behind the scenes tour. We've had a direct relationship with our consumers for decades. We know exactly who's purchasing in real time. The real time data we get as we're going through is remarkable. So no, obviously we're unique in how we do this, but that kind of information is invaluable. It really is to help guide what's working and what's inspiring in the moment. So we'll continue to evolve this. I think that is a big gap, as both Delaney and Dallas pointed out in these third-party platforms. But it's critical information to have, and we're fortunate that we're unique and we've always had this direct relationship with our customers.
I'm coming to Philly, David.
I was going to say,
I'm going to take you up on that too.
You don't realize how many people you just invited to come get tours. You brought up an interesting point there, which is, what does that evolution of data look like, right? And who wants to sort of take that question?
I will take that because that's a passion point for us. So I know that when we talk about data, streamers actually they have a lot of data, but that's business intelligence that they're running about their business. From who's watching content to how long they're watching to how many eyeballs. And it's that level of business intelligence that's not helpful in the conversation that is built around negotiations of ad dollars or ad spend, as well as content negotiations. The kinds of data that are needed, and these are the kinds of conversations that we have. We have a testing platform in which advertisers are able to come into our sandbox and test with streamers across both content in product placement as well as advertising. And we generate meaningful data. And that meaningful data is data that is centered around the level of engagement that ties the engagement to impression. That data is about from the time that consumer has opted in to actually engage in a interactive experience and bringing that experience into their mobile device. We have a second screen experience in which it brings it to the mobile device and allows the viewer to engage with it for up to 24 hours, where that viewer is engaged with the content, the information, the CTA, an immersive experience, whether it's try-on or it's something else. There's lots of bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, that data signifies the intent, not only the intent to engage with that brand, in which brands and advertisers want to understand, but it also allows them to understand from the time that they opt in to the time that they actually purchase something and maybe even actually return something. It allows them PII data, journey data, a first party data. It provides a look at it from a cohort perspective for streamers. And this is unique data that is generated outside of the BI for third-party streamers. So it allows them to feel much more comfortable in the sharing process. And it really is about this. It's about they have a need, the advertiser and brand has a need, and the viewer has a need. And the viewer's need, first and foremost, is compliance. whether it's GDPR or CCPA or COPA. It is really important, and many others, by the way. It is really important that that experience is privacy first, and it is providing the level of data that the viewer wants to do. He and I talked about a couple of years ago, we talked about the value exchange. The value exchange that he is referring to, and that we also refer to, is the ability for that viewer to agree to give up a certain level of information in exchange for a better value. And that's what streamers get, is the value of that consumer. And then what advertisers get, they get the connection to that viewer. So it is definitely an ecosystem play, and it brings really valuable data along with that.
Eric, let me give just one maybe
So
example.
I'm being told we have about 5 minutes left. So Dallas, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you respond, but I just want to let everybody know.
Yeah, let me give a visual example, bring this to life. So if you're an auto advertiser, would you rather buy men 18 to 24 in Chicago, or would you like to buy a 24-year-old male who owns a truck, loves the outdoors, tells us he's in the market for a new truck right now, wants a lease, has a preferred price of $400 per month, currently owns a Chevy, but is willing to look at a Ford F-150? That's the level of data, and it's not first party, it's zero party, and which is the term I think everyone needs to start embracing, where the consumer has actually given it to, in our case, Telly, Delaney probably has it, Loria has it as well, where they're giving us this data, and they're saying, in exchange for this, I have a couple things I expect. In our case, we give them $1,000 television, but I also want a relevant advertising experience. So if I'm Ford and I'm in the market for an F-150, I look at that and say, wow, I can cut out about 80% of waste, and I can reach the audience I'm trying to reach today. And I can do it with data that is completely future-proof for a privacy world that we're entering now. And also is one that the user actually at the end of the day says, gosh, thanks, I love that experience. I mean, that's where we are today.
So we do have a question, and I love the analogy because we actually have a question from the audience about, I mean, I was thinking about how I could do a visual like you did, but let's say I'm this brand of water and I want to make an interactive T-commerce ad, right? Our question from the audience is there a big investment to enable a T-commerce solution?
No.
No.
None.
So
I'll give you an example, Eric, for Telly. Just an example for Telly. If you can see the ad to my right screen, in the bottom right screen, that's a standard IAB display ad, right? That we can make shoppable. It's super easy to do. There are AI functions out there that will actually now take your social ads, rip them, turn them into television commercials for you. Self-service platforms. I mean, the threshold to television advertising has never been lower, and the ability to do engaging T-commerce ads it takes 30 seconds to create a QR code on any one of the free apps that are online and create it and put it online. So I think that there's a fear factor that is holding people back because they think it's more complicated, because they're thinking about what it was like 10 years ago when the TV was dumb and the technology wasn't there. We have made an evolutionary leap forward.
Yeah. I was going to say, our solution, we do all the integration, the heavy lifting, right? So no one, who's interested in promoting their product has to do anything. So with our solution, there's two ways to do it. One is which is an overlay that's directly on that video player or the content that shows the items when they appear on screen and that they're available to purchase with a full description. It's directly integrated with the e-commerce platform. So things like inventory, all of that is in real time. And again, it eliminates a redirect or interruption from being engaged in that content. That's the main takeaway. The secondary way to do that is on a second screen, like a mobile device or something like what Dallas has, where we offer a curated list of items that pertain to the content that they're watching, and this can support multiple brands. So again, it's just a matter of tell us what you want, or tell us what e-commerce platform that you have, and we can make it live and shoppable. That's it.
David, I know you were going to add something.
Yeah, I would just add, I mean, yes, the technology's there. I think it's wonderful. We're on the cusp of this whole next generation of interactive T-commerce. But I would just caution, it starts with, inspired purchasing and inspired viewing. A Ford 150 might be great. You're not going to sell a Ford in 30 seconds, but you might be able to have someone interested and request information or dig deeper. Bottle of water is probably not going to be an inspired product either, but I know that's wasn't the reference you were doing. But it really, you just have to be very, very thoughtful about what you're trying to accomplish, because is it different? While it's the same medium, it's a very different form than people are used to with a 30-second or even 60-second traditional ad.
Yeah, I think we clearly are answering, the question that came from the audience, which is it's not that costly, it's not that time consuming, right? I know we took us a while to get there, but I wanted to hear all your insights.
And it's not that hard. That's the kicker.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
I think that is a win-win for the industry. We do have a poll question, and we actually had audience participation in this, so I want to share that with you guys and sort of get some of your feedback. So the question is, which new advertising method are you most excited about? And our audience sort of weighed in to talk about hyper-targeting, personalization, interactive ads. But what was really also interesting to me is the deployment of AI for new creative. I don't know from your business solutions and the products that you guys work on, if you're seeing that starting to evolve. Clearly, generative AI and AI is in our world. The consumer may not necessarily know how much it's being activated in their daily lives. But what are your thoughts on deploying AI for new creative for T-commerce?
Well, I know for us, like as far as AI goes, we do have a AI-based machine learning solution that's called an Advise Me functionality. And this works on live stream content as well. And we test this with New York Fashion Week. And basically what it is, you can have a database, you can upload as many as 2 million high-res images. And regardless of what video content that you render it against, whether it's a live feed, whether it's VOD, that AI element can recognize all of the items that look like the items that are on screen. So if I like David's jacket, I could literally buy David's jacket off of his back, right? Or I could also look at 10 other jackets that look like it based on that database. And I think that those kind of solutions are going to only improve, especially like with introductions to like ChatGPT and to contextual AI-based learning. It's going to be really exciting to kind of see how those elements integrate into the T-commerce landscape for sure.
I would just add, I think what I'm most excited about overall is that we are making the living room once again kind of the heartbeat of the entire house, where we're eliminating the 14 other devices you've had to create because your TV's gotten dumber, not smarter. And you're putting everything into one spot. And you're saying, this is now where you already spend more waking hours of the day. And now we're going to make that time more monetizable for advertisers in a way that's more beneficial to you. And to David's critical point, the ability to make sure that the experience is genuine and authentic by taking the data that we're able to see of what you care about and find that moment of connectivity that makes sense because you're now in the moment and you're ready, whether that's you're watching football and we know that you're hungry. So we're going to give you a Domino's ad that all you have to do is click that ad on the television and your pre-populated pizza with your credit card account already there, and it starts shipping to your house and you can watch in the bottom right-hand corner as your pizza is made and comes to the house. Like that ability to connect that in a way that makes the consumer, it brings them joy, makes the advertiser excited. I mean, we are literally in the golden age of television and the golden age of advertising. And I just think there's never been a more exciting time to be in the space. The future is wide open here.
Well, I was going to give each of you 30 seconds to tell us what you're excited about. So Dallas already went. Lori, I'm going to go with you and sort of ask you where you think we are, what stage we're in, and what you're excited about for the future in this space.
I think there's nothing but progress ahead, and those that are willing to innovate, that literally lets go of their fear. I think that those are the ones that are really going to accelerate and do very well in the space. But I think that what I am super excited about is just the possibility. And when we talked about the AI, we have an AI-driven platform as well. We use it for automation. We do not use it for creation in terms of creating images because you get into a whole nother element there in terms of what viewers find as believable and credible. But we do use AI for experiences and immersive experiences around AR. I think that the next stage of where AI it goes in two places. It continues ahead on the business side where it works on the workflows that actually helps to deliver immersive content over the screen and into the living room. And that's with places of like LiDAR technology. I also think on the other side of it, that AI will be useful in terms of providing those curated experiences, but also allowing consumers to curate for themselves. Yeah, so I'm super excited.
We'll go to Delaney and then we'll finish with David and we'll wrap up our conversation here today.
Well, I have kind of a shallow answer, to be honest. I'm really excited about this dolphin. What I think it's a dolphin, the New York Jets game that's coming up on Black Friday, because Amazon is really kind of laying ground what we all think. But the proof is really going to be in the pudding when they launch this on a world stage, and we're actually going to see how the interactive shopping market performs. And I think after Amazon really does this, it's going to be a matter of time of a shifting of brands and of advertising and consumers of, it's going to go from, I don't know if this is a priority right now to we need to catch up. So I think that after that, things are going to be moving relatively fast. That's kind of my prediction.
And just to add to that, so the NFL did a deal, an exclusive Black Friday game on the Friday of Thanksgiving that is on Amazon Prime. So therefore, we're all sort of wondering what that means for the future of interactive selling, right?
Right.
Yeah. David, what are your thoughts? Where do you think, what stage we're in, and where do you think we're heading?
I think, we've touched on so much, agree with everything. What I'm most excited about is this transition from linear to streaming. So in our streaming service, we can now offer more content choices, more personalization, more engagement, retaining that genuineness and authenticity, but to really, play with so many different formats, how we seamlessly integrate a transactional or commerce experience into other forms of content people are interested in. We talk about fandom. We can be more precise and have just more offerings for more people that you just can't do in linear. So, as Dallas said, we're at the golden age of next generation television. It's going to be super exciting, not only for programmers, but for viewers, content providers, and advertisers, because there's going to be more meaningful ways to engage directly with consumers in a way that just hasn't been done in the past.
I'm just looking to get my kids back into the living room so we can watch TV together. I don't know if everybody else feels that way.
While you're watching TV, your kids can play Flappy Birds on that bottom screen while you're watching TV.
Right. They'll just be on their phone.
Right. Well, I do want to thank all of you guys for being here today. I think this was really a fantastic discussion. Again, thank you to our guests today. We hope that this was as informative for you as it was for me. We want to give a big thank you to our panelists for being here. I know you guys are still all there, so thank you. We hope to have you guys back on again, and I want to thank our audience for listening and tuning in today. So thank you guys for being here. We're going to wrap things up here in just a moment, let our panelists get back to their daily lives and busy lives. But as a reminder about our Parks Associates, we hope that you can join us for our in-person Future of Video event in Marina Del Rey. It's a 3-day in-person executive conference, and it happens November 14th through the 16th in Marina Del Rey. We would love to have you there if you are interested in that. There was a message earlier to reach out to Megan and some of our other folks, but please join us at our Future of Video session in November 14th in Marina Del Rey. It's a fantastic conference, fantastic experience to network and hear from executives and industry leaders in the space. Also, a few other reminders for you guys. If you guys are interested in any of our quantified consumer research, we also have a recent deck that we published called Video Service Shifting Demands. So this deck is also available. The QR codes, as we're talking about QR codes, QR code is right there for you to scan and go to your mobile device and take a look at that deck as well. And as a reminder, if you're new to Parks Associates Research and Events, we do offer custom content marketing services with sponsored white papers, webinars, podcasts, all grounded in our Parks Associates consumer research data. And then lastly, coming up, as we're continuing to talk about advertising in a fragmented landscape, there's a new white paper that is available to you in partnership with Audia. So please check that out. I believe it's in the swap card, or you can also find that on our website, the URL, or scan the code. And this is a complimentary webinar tied to that white paper about AVOD and FAST services, and we'd love to have you join us for that as well. Some more information from our folks is here's just a quick look. If you haven't had a chance to look at our website, we're going to show it to you here in this session. So here's a quick look at all of our executive conferences and virtual sessions throughout the year. If you or your colleagues are interested in joining us, we'd love to hear from industry leaders and speakers like yourself. And please reach out to Ashton or Jason or Mindy Sue if you're interested in any of our research or sponsoring our events or speaking at our events. That is it for me today on our future video session about exploring advertising revenues and T-commerce. I think we had a fantastic discussion with Peter Scott. Again, thank you to all of our panelists for joining us. Really a lot of informative information there, and gets us all excited about the future of where we're heading with advertising through the television and making our dumb TVs smart. So I appreciate all of you tuning in and joining us. We hope to see you again in November, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.